One of the best parts of life is when you can admit the truth to yourself about yourself. Cyberspace is a world where one can become something he isn't, but everything he dares to be. I wasn't interested in getting attached to anyone, and I knew I wouldn't take anyone I met online seriously. I had multiple screen names to increase my chances of meeting someone attractive. The majority of the profiles noted HIV negative under status, but I knew better from the work I had done in the HIV community. I knew 1 out of 3 black gay men was positive. The messages I found in my inbox validated me in my depression. In some strange way, they reinforced that I was worthy and deserving. My days consisted of waking up and logging on to see how many messages had accrued overnight. Months passed before I got honest with my therapist about what was happening with me. And before I knew it, I heard myself say, I've been having sex with people I meet online. To listen to more of Words Never Spoken in Memoir, visit audible.com. I was involved briefly with a married man who believed he had the courage to leave his wife to be with me and to live his truth. This isn't the typical story of a married man promising to leave his wife for a secret lover. Rather, this is a story in part about a gay man who knew he was gay before he got married, but chose to marry a woman because he didn't know how to break free. Rocky and I met on a gay social media site 3 months after I returned to the East Coast to live, and just 11 months after he was married. At the time we met, he was living and working in Dubai as a contractor for the government on a military base, while his wife was stationed in Tallahassee, Florida, where they had a home. In one of the first messages he sent me, Rocky shared that he was married, but that he had regrets. He explained that he had come out to his mother and siblings when he was 18 years old. He sent them. To listen to more of One Thing for Certain, Two Things for Sure, a memoir continued, visit audible.com. When I released my first book, I remember thinking very heavily about Elon Harris and how he did it, how he managed to reach millions of people around the world through his work, and how I would do it. His readers became my readers. I write because it's my passion. I write with black people on my mind and black gay men in my heart. Toni Morrison gave me the courage to say that out loud.
Yes, I can write about white people. White people can write about black people. Anything can happen in art. There are no boundaries there.
I could write about anything, anyone, but I choose to write about our experience.
And I spent my entire writing life trying to make sure that the white gaze was not the dominant one in any of my books.
Book of Jewels is my love letter to black people.
It has nothing to do with who reads the books. Everyone, I hope, of any race, any gender, any country.
Book of Jewels is 11 of the biggest life lessons that I've learned to date, and the stories behind those lessons. Book of Jewels is available now on Audible, all e-readers, and Amazon.com. Visit www.craigthewriterstewart.com for more information. Liquid Blends is where real wellness starts from the inside out. They've blended nature's most powerful ingredients into one uncompromising line of liquid supplements designed for results you can feel. Soursop helps support healthy blood pressure levels and calms inflammation throughout the body, easing joint discomfort linked to arthritis, fibromyalgia, and nerve-related conditions. By reducing internal stress, it also supports immune balance, promotes cellular health, and helps with night sweats, so your body can rest, recover, and protect itself. Their black seed bitters are a metabolic powerhouse, helping support healthy blood sugar balance and maintain A1C levels already within a normal range, especially for those managing glucose concerns. Visit liquidblends.com. Use promo code Craig the Writer.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is So Much to Say YouTube TV. These are my thoughts, in my voice, on black shit, white shit, gay shit, and everything in between. Now, So Much to Say YouTube TV is the place that you come to learn and grow. So go ahead and hit the like button, the share button, and the subscribe button. And turn on that little bell so that you get a notification every single time that I go live or I upload something new. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. What's up, Bart courtside. I saw your comment before the live started. You asked if I'm already back home. I am. So, good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is the Facebook and YouTube live versions of So Much to Say. These are my thoughts in my voice on black shit, white shit, gay shit, pardon me, and everything in between. So, Thursday night, we did Fag Talk. Friday morning, I flew to New York. The Native Son Awards dinner was Friday night. And then I flew back home this morning. So I was only in New York for a day. And it was so worth it. Now, I had been to the Native Son Awards dinner one time before, right? But that was 4 years. No, it was 3 years ago. I went in 2023. Um, Yeah, it's always in June, and it was in 2023, and so that was the first time that I went. And Don Lemon was the MC. I didn't know Don Lemon at the time. Remember, I didn't meet Don Lemon because we had just started doing Fag Talk. So I didn't know Don Lemon at the time, but he was the MC, or the master of ceremony, and then I met him like sometime after that. But through Fag Talk, like we were online one day, and I didn't realize that he, watched the show. So Native Son is named after James Baldwin, but Native Son Awards, this is the 10-year anniversary, and a friend of mine, someone that I know in New York, invited me to have a seat at the table. Now, when I went before, I paid for my seat. It's like $400 or $500 or something a plate. And I only eat fish. I'm pescatarian. I eat fish and vegetables. And they didn't have fish on the menu last year or this year. But that's not what this is about. So I bought my seat the last time. This time I was invited by a friend of mine who's on the board, and he offered me a seat at the table, and so I went. Native Son Awards. It's an annual, and like I said, this is the 10-year anniversary. It's an annual dinner to celebrate Black queer men in arts and entertainment. Um, so they celebrate and acknowledge the work of Black queer men. Now, in the beginning, rather, I should say, it was only for Black queer men. Now it's for Black queer people because lesbians and trans people are welcome to come now. But in the beginning, it was only for Black queer men, but they opened it up to the community, which I think was the smartest thing to do. Um, so I went to the dinner, and thank you very much for all of the compliments. I see them. I appreciate it. I felt really good. We'll come to the outfit in a second. Those of you who are on Patreon, let me put my little links up down here. Those of you who are on Patreon, you already saw the outfit. You knew the outfit was coming. I was originally going to be wearing that. I was originally going to wear that outfit, that look, to Cold Hearted said, "You're next on the list." Well, I mean, it seemed like they would have invited me by now. But at any rate, but at any rate, DS rocking. I did not have a hot date after, but trust, believe, and know, he was definitely trying to see me. But I didn't have time because I was in and out of there. But what I was gonna say was, y'all a mess. Damn, y'all threw me off. Oh, if you're on Patreon, you already saw that look because I've never worn it before, but I was going to wear it to the show in New York. Like we have a Fag Talk show June 30th in New York. The tickets are already on sale, fagtalk.com. I was gonna wear that to the show, but I decided not to. I felt like I don't know. I knew that this dinner was gonna be Juneteenth, and I needed to wear that that African print. But of course, it was something that Kathy made. Kathy made the pants. Kathy made the kimono. The shirt I bought at the store many years ago. So it was just something I had in my closet. And then the shoes were Nana Boateng. You got, the black designer that I used to get clothes from. So anyway, I wanted to wear that. And so I said, oh no, I'm wearing this. So I've switched up my look for the New York show. Um, but the dinner was great. And the dinner was great because I think the purpose of it is really important to really celebrate and shine. Because of course we have traditional award shows like BET Honors and all these other things, but there's never really anything that celebrates and highlights the contributions of Black queer people. And I personally believe that Black queer people, and this is, so first of all, we're talking about Black people, period, right? But I specifically would say that Black queer people, in my opinion, and not really opinion because it really is fact, Black queer people are the most gifted and talented of God's people. I really believe that. And that's not to take away from anybody else. But I just believe that Black queer people are God's most gifted and talented. I've been saying that for years. I mean, for years, I've been saying that. Um, because when you think about entertainment, we're everywhere. Um, we're in the film industry as actors, as writers. We're in sports. Um, we're fashion designers, makeup artists, hairstylists. We're all of the things that make entertainment move. You understand? And again, it doesn't mean that there aren't straight people who aren't talented. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's a greater concentration of Black queer people. And you know why I believe that God gave us that? I believe God had to give us something for people to fall in love with us for. Because if you think about it, there are some people who only tolerate queer people for our gift to be interior designers, makeup artists, hairstylists, whatever it is. Um, he taught us, he gave us the gift of making the world beautiful, right? So at any rate, I think this award show or this award dinner is a dinner because it's not televised or anything like that. I think they do film it. I don't know what they do with it though. So this year's honorees, the only person that I knew, and not only like knew in real life, but recognized, um, was Duran Bernard, um, the singer. And so before I go into Duran, let me just say this. So I'm at the dinner. Danielle and I go to the dinner. And so I get there. I meet Danielle there. And my friend and assistant Lynn, she was contracted to go up there to work as well because one of her girlfriends helped organize the dinner, and so she was up there helping. And when Native Son did an event here last year for Labor Day weekend, there was a luncheon and they invited me to that. So anyway, so she was there. So when I got there, Lynn was like, "Hey, are you gonna walk the red carpet?" And I was just like, "No, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna do the carpet." Those of you who know me and have been following me for a very long time, you know the fanfare is not really my thing. Like I really don't have to have all of that. Um, and like the people who, some of the people who watch, a very small minority of the people who watch Fag Talk, who just discovered me, I guess, from watching Fag Talk, who like to say, um, I'm only tagging along with Madison because I want to be famous. I'm like, okay, you really, you really don't know me, because I don't care about red carpets. That's why I'm not always running around to stuff with Madison, going to stuff like I don't need all of that. Um, and so I said, no, I'm not gonna do the red carpet. But by the time three people asked me, they were like, oh my God, Craig, are you gonna do the red carpet? I was like, no, I'm good. But anyway, but three people in that were a part of the event asked me to do it. So I ended up going and doing it. And on the red carpet, they had like podcasters and they were talking to the people as they were coming down. and and gay media, just to talk to the people. And of course there were photos and that kind of thing. So I went down. And so then I go inside, people were like, "Oh my God, Craig, it's good to meet you. Good to see you in person. I love your work," that kind of thing. And the piece that I was going to say, and I moved away from it, was I don't really go out. Like when y'all see me, we're here. My friends are here, or we're going taking a trip somewhere, or we're going to a restaurant. Especially if you're on Patreon, we're at a restaurant and we're talking. Like I'm not like out. Like I don't really go out a lot like that. And when I do, I go to concerts. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So I go to concerts and stuff like that. So when people stop me, it's either through the airport or the gym or something like that, like in some public space where you're just there for a moment. Oh, hey, how you doing? And you keep it moving. So I'm trying to read your comments too. Thank you, Coco Lane. And so this is the first time that I have been in a room, like in a room for like hours at a time, like an event where people are there and it's gay. Um, and all I can tell you is my heart was so full. And y'all know I be a little sensitive sometimes. And so my eyes are kind of watering just a little bit. But I think I'm gonna be able to get through this and say this without like any tears. But if they come, they come. Um, my heart was so full because I couldn't move very I couldn't move very far at all um without men, women, younger, older, stopping me to say, "I love your work. I love everything that you do." And they're like reciting to me things that they've seen, either from telling our stories. They're talking to me about the Black Gay and Aging episode, or the episode with the couples, or like or the lesbian edition. Like they're talking to me about all of this stuff. And then of course they mention Fag Talk, and I'm just looking. I'm just I'm in awe. Like I'm just like, I mean, I was blown away. And the way that I can describe it to you, it was like an avalanche of it was an avalanche of like praises and just of the work, and then there were people who were like, "You're just such a great example of what we need to see in our community, Black gay man," and just that whole thing. And I was just like, wow. But you got to hear Danielle tell you, because Danielle was there with me, and Danielle said, "Ramia." If you know, you know. That's definitely from Fag Talk, right? And Danielle and I, of course, we talked about it when we went, because we ended up going to dinner after, because of course, you go to these little fancy dinners, the food is just. So we needed to go eat after. So we were talking about it, and she said, and so we talked about it last night. Then we talked about it today as I was going through the airport. I was talking to her on the phone, and she said, you know, I've watched you. I've known Danielle since college. She said, "I've watched you from the beginning, and you're so deserving of this." She said, "Because I remember in the beginning, you used to grab your phone and you'd be filming yourself." Those of you who were just with me on Facebook in the very beginning, when I was only streaming on Facebook. And she said, "You would have that phone and you'd be recording yourself." And I'm like, "Would you put that damn phone down?" She said, "But you knew." She said, "You were building this community. You were building this life that you have now." She said, "And this is before anybody was really," and I'm not saying I was first on YouTube. I'm not saying that at all. But what she's talking about is in the beginning of live streaming. Like everybody wasn't live streaming at that time. Um, we're talking like 9 years ago, 10 years ago, where when you would live stream on Facebook, a little ad would pop up on the screen and you would press the button. Like during that time when it was kind of unique, like there was no live streaming on Instagram, like none of that stuff existed. It was just on YouTube and Facebook, really, and then Periscope. But She said, you were live streaming in the beginning. And she said, and I used to make fun of you. And she said, but look what you've done. Look what you've built. She said, it's allowed you to put your work in front of the world. And she said, I was just so full. Because she was standing there with me the whole night. I mean, there were a couple times that we separated in the room, but for the most part, we were standing side by side. And she said, watching those people come up to you and give you your flowers, she said, oh, Craig, like, and you think I'm emotional. Danielle is emotional. And she said, and I think I may have shared with you guys that Danielle is coming on as my brand partnership manager. So, like, anything that I promote moving forward, she's going to basically broker that deal, that partnership. Um, because that's what she's done. Like, she's done that. She did that for Essence for 12 years. She just left iHeartRadio. She was doing it for iHeartRadio. Like, that's her business. And so we're doing this now. And today we were talking on the phone as I was going through the airport. And so she called me and she said like a few words and then she just broke down and started crying. And I'm like, what happened? What's going She said, let me just say this. And she said to me, because of course, if we're going to be doing business together, we have to talk money. We have to talk about percentages, like what percentage is she going to get for the work that she's going to be doing. And she broke down and she was crying. She said, I value our friendship so much. She said, Craig, she said, you are my best friend. And she said, I don't take that lightly. And she said, I don't want this to come between us, because she had a situation with another friend and they fell out over money. And she said, because I was misunderstood. She said, but I know you know my heart. She said, but I am so nervous, because she still hasn't sent me the paperwork so I can see the breakdown of percentages so we can come to an agreement. And she said, but I haven't sent it to you. And I've asked her for it twice. She said, but I haven't sent it because I'm so that last situation, it really triggered, it hurt me. She said, I don't want this to become us. And so I just listened, and she said to me, because she has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend said, well, why haven't you and Craig done this already? Like, what y'all waiting on? Like, it's a no-brainer. This is what you do. This is what he does. Come together and y'all could be out here killing shit. And because she has a lot of relationships and partnerships with corporate companies and stuff like that, that could align with me and my audience. And so he said to her boyfriend said to her, how close are you and Craig? And she said, I've always told Craig, you are my there's no friend like you friend. She said, Craig is my there's no friend like you friend. And she said, and I just want us to approach this relationship, this business relationship, with care, with care. And so I understood and I got it. And so she was saying to me, like, just last night was just so magical. It was so worth you flying here just for the night. And so while we were in the room, as we checked in at the table and then we walked in, um, from the moment we walked in, it just started. Nico Annan from P Valley was there. But you guys who are on Patreon, I know him. Like, we've hung out because he lives here in Atlanta. So he and I were there. We talked. Derek J was there. I hadn't seen Derek J in a long time. We chopped it up. And then Derek J gonna say, "Oh, you're here with regular people? I mean, you so famous now, you so rich. Like, you here with regular people." But me and Derek, we always had that little back and forth. Derek was there. And then there was just a host of people that I just didn't know who happened to just know my word. But then Duran Bernard was there. Like, I happened to turn around and he said, Craig, I've never met him in my life. When I tell you, I hugged him like he was my little brother. I think I damn near picked him up off the floor. He was like, Craig. Then he starts quoting lines from Fag Talk. And so we chatted up, chopped it up. I exchanged numbers with him. He actually lives in Atlanta. He said, I live in Atlanta now. I said, wait, what? So he lives in Atlanta. So I'm definitely going to be chopping it up with him. I, I'm putting it into universe that I want to get him over here for an episode of Telling Our Stories. I definitely want, because I already have ideas of what I want to do for Telling Our Stories, like other episodes. It was even a guy that stopped me and said, "Hey, I know you don't remember." He said, "But we went out on a date one time many years ago." We went out on a date one time many years ago. I said, "Did we? Okay, good to see you." Um, who else did I say? Tamron Hall was there. And well, first of all, before I get to Tamron Hall, so you guys know Johnny Wright, the guy who used to do Michelle Obama's hair, and now he does Tamron Hall's hair. And so Danielle was like, "Craig, do you know Johnny?" Because again, remember, this is the beauty industry, and Danielle worked for Essence and then iHeart, so she was doing her clients were always beauty, like beauty products, that kind of thing. So she said, "You know Johnny?" I said, "I don't know him." I said, but I know who he is. I said, because I paid attention to him once he became Michelle Obama's hair person. And so then she said, "Johnny, this is my friend Craig." He turned around, he said, "Oh my God, Craig, it's so good to meet you in person." And so we started chopping it up. We chatted, we laughed. And I saw Tamron, because he was there with Tamron. I saw her back was to me because she was talking to somebody else. I said, "I want to meet Tamron." And so then we walked down to meet Tamron. So she was talking to whoever she was talking to. She was talking like two or three people. And he tapped her on her shoulder and she turned around and her mouth dropped. And she said, "Oh my God." She said, "I love you so much. I love the show." I was sitting there. When I say I was blown out of my mind, she was like, "I love the show." She was talking about Fag Talk. She said, "I watched the show. It's so funny. It's so informative." She said, "And I even from my blind account, I be in the comments saying little things." I said, "You be in the comment?" She said, "Yes, from my blind account." Madison had told me she watched the show. Madison told me that, but to hear her say it, it was funny because Madison's been on her show twice. So anyway, so she turned and then she said, "I love your." She said, "This is fabulous." When I tell you, I could not walk 2 feet in that building yesterday. Those people were on that motherfucking kimono. They were on that kimono. And if you're on Patreon, Kathy and I said, "Oh, this is gonna fuck them up." She said, "Oh, this gonna fuck them up." I said, "Okay, this gonna fuck them up." I said, "I got to wear this to the dinner. I can't wear this to the New York show." So met her, and then Danielle and I had in mind two of the companies that we wanted to target, right? Because they align with the work that I do, especially, well, not even especially, I was going to say, especially with Telling Our Stories, but just the people who watch my channel. It's women and queer people, right? And and I tell you guys all of the time, there's so many commonalities and so many parallels between queer men and Black women, right? A lot of the products that we use, a lot of the services, and all those things are kind of like on par. So I'm not going to go into the specifics of the companies, but one of them, we were like, we got to get to them. And we were like, we got to find out who's over this company, like who's here. And when we got there was a huge activation for this particular company. They had a huge banner. They had like a picture booth that you could go through and all of this other stuff. And we were like, we got to find out who's over this because we knew the sponsors were going to be there. And so we get over there. Well, no, we're sitting down I'm standing up at our table or somewhere, and the head sponsor of this particular company, I see him see me from across the room. This man's eyes kind of did like this, and then he came beelining towards me. Danielle wasn't standing beside me. He comes over to me and says, "Craig, I beg your pardon." Pardon me. He said, "Craig," he said, "we have to talk." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "We wanted to get in touch with you all. We were saying that we have to meet whoever is over this today." And I said to him, no, he said to me, And Danielle's still not standing here. He says to me, we took a poll, we did a survey of Black gay men, and we asked them, whose voice do you listen to? Who do you take advice to? Who in the from the community on social media do you listen to and you take their word or whatever, however he worded it? He said, and guess who was number one and number two? And so then Danielle comes up. I said, "You're kidding me." So then he comes. He said, "We did an online poll because he had something to do with. Remember, Madison just got an award for from BET for what is it, Black and Iconic. He was a part of that too. That's BET. He said we did an online poll and they did some other kind of a poll. And so then Danielle comes up, and I said, Danielle, I said, can you tell her what you just told me? So then he repeats it. She said, you're kidding. She said, so he said, number one and number two were me and Madison. So he said, I said, really? I said, well, I do a web series called Telling Our Stories. And I said, we really could use your support. Because you guys know I pay for telling our stories myself. Like the editing, the cameras and shit, the food, the wine, or whatever it is they drink when they come. And so he said, I know Telling Our Stories. He said, I've watched it. He said, I watched the couples edition. And he said, I watched the one about aging. I said, really? He said, we need to talk. He said, you know how to get in touch with me. He said, we got work to do. Yes, we do have work to do. So anyway, met him. Lena Waithe came and got me out of my chair. Now, you know I'm watching The Chi now. Lena Waithe, I was sitting down. Lena Waithe was coming around the table and she did like this. She like smiled and she was rounding the table. She smiled and she nodded her head up like this. And I'm thinking she looking at somebody else. And so I kind of like looked at her and then she came and stood beside me and she went to do like this for a hug. So I stood up and I hugged her. And I said, I said to her, I am so proud of you. I said, and I know you hear strangers saying that to you all the time. I said, but I am telling you, I am proud of the work that you're doing for our community. I said, and you know what? I am binge watching The Chi. She said, no way. I said, I just, right before I went to New York, I finished the end of season 2 and I'm about to start season 3. I said, I'm gonna come all the way up to season 8. And so we hugged. She said, I don't even remember what she was saying to me, but she was saying stuff to me. And but she kept hugging me though. Like we would stop, we would talk, and then she'd hug me again. And then, oh, I know what I said to her first when she came and I realized she was coming to talk to me. I said, I feel like we should have met so long ago because I said we have so many people that we know in common. That's how it started. And then we hugged, and I told her I was proud of her, and then she hugged me, and then she said something about the stage play because she was doing a limited run of a stage play. I said, I know. I said, because you did it in Baltimore. I said, I'm from Baltimore. And she said, yeah, we're trying to bring it to New York too. And da 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 da. Cynthia Erivo was there too, because you know they're a couple. Um, but yeah, so Angela was supposed to have been calling me before she came. She didn't even call. Here she is pulling up. So anyway, so I chatted with her. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else there that I talked to that you all would know. Okay, you all may know Sir John. Sir John is a makeup artist. He does Beyonce. He had a partnership with her when they did The Lion's King. Um, he has like a big deal contract with like L'Oreal and all this other stuff with them. I knew him when he was 18. He actually just sent me a voice note. I gotta text him after I get off with y'all. But I've known him since he was 18. And so when I saw him, he said, oh my God, Craig, he said, oh my God, you look amazing. You look up. He said, oh my God. Then he said in this voice note, where'd you get that jacket? Everybody want to know where I got the jacket. People kept coming up to me asking me where I got the jacket. Is it really African print? Did I buy it somewhere? And they was like, I know it's custom. I said, no, it's custom. They were like, oh my God, it looks custom. I mean, they were over that motherfucking kimono. Do you hear me? So Sir John and I, we chatted. And then, of course, he introduced me to all of these people standing there and was like, I've known Craig since I was 18. Da, da, da. Just going on and on. But it was such a great night. Look at Angela. Now, who told her to come over here? She said she was supposed to be calling. She said, I'm gonna call you before I come. Huh? I think this window might be painted shut. Yeah. Yeah, I saw my hibiscus when I got out. When I pulled out. And she now you supposed to been calling me before you came. Look, she talking about ooh. Ooh hell. I could have entertaining a gentleman over here.
Just give me the code. I'm gonna go in this because you ain't down there entertaining no gentlemen.
Well, I mean,
Come in.
I might entertain all over the house.
Well, just give me them 10 minutes that y'all running across.
No, I'm gonna need more than 10 minutes. I might be 50, but I need more than 10 minutes.
Uh,
It's your code. I don't know what number you gave me. She asking me for what code to get into the house. You the one gave me the 4-digit code. I'm gonna unlock the garage door though. I'll open the garage. Yeah, this window was almost uh I guess she remembered what her code was. But it was a great night. I just wanted to tell you all that, but it was really great. Huh? I just happened to look out the window and I saw you pulling up. I said, I know that ain't her pulling over here. You want me to open the garage? Oh, I hear. Okay. Um, but yeah, so anyway, it was a great night. I think Madison and I are gonna end up doing Fag Talk tomorrow because I told her that I was back already. And she has some running around to do because they're leaving. What's tomorrow? Sunday? I don't think we'll be able to do no Fag Talk tomorrow because they're leaving tomorrow. You know, she drives everywhere. They getting on the road tomorrow. I'm jumping on a plane on Monday. Um, she said for a Sunday show. Oh well, maybe. I mean, I'm open to do a Sunday show if she's able to do it, because I don't leave until Monday morning. And yeah, so that's that. I didn't realize Angela was coming. I planned on talking to y'all a little bit longer, but she's downstairs. Let me go. I'll talk to y'all later. All right. I got some Patreon that I'll be uploading for you guys. So it's coming. All right. Bye.